India becomes the fourth country ever to land a spacecraft on the Moon. India has landed its Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft on the Moon, becoming only the fourth nation ever to accomplish such a feat. The mission could cement India's status as a global superpower in space. Previously, only the United States, China, and the former Soviet Union have completed soft landings on the lunar surface. Chandrayaan-3's landing site is also closer to the Moon's south pole than any other spacecraft in history has ventured. The South Pole region is considered an area of key scientific and strategic interest for spacefaring nations. As scientists believe the region to be home to water ice deposits. The water, frozen in shadowy craters, could be converted into rocket fuel or even drinking water for future crewed missions. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, currently in South Africa for the BRICS summit, watched the landing virtually and shared broadcasted remarks on the live stream. "On this joyous occasion, I would like to address all the people of the world," he said. "This success belongs to all of humanity, and it will help moon missions by other countries in the future." India's attempt to land its spacecraft near the lunar South Pole comes just days after another nation's failed attempt to do the same. Russia's Luna 25 spacecraft crashed into the Moon on August 19th after its engines misfired, ending the country's first lunar landing attempt in 47 years. As Chandrayaan-3 approached the Moon, its cameras captured photographs, including one taken on August 20th that India's space agency shared Tuesday. The image offers a close-up of the Moon's dusty grey terrain. Chandrayaan-3's journey, India's lunar lander, consists of three parts: a lander, rover, and propulsion module, which provided the spacecraft all the thrust required to traverse the 384, 400-kilometer, 238, 855-mile void between the Moon and Earth. The lander, called Vikram, completed the precision maneuvers required to make a soft touchdown on the lunar surface after it was ejected from the propulsion module. Tucked inside is Pragyan, a small, six-wheeled rover that will deploy from the lander by rolling down a ramp. Vikram used its onboard thrusters to carefully orient itself as it approached the lunar surface, and it slowly throttled down its engines for a touchdown just after 6 p.m. IST, 8:30 a.m. ET, as applause erupted from the mission control room. The lander, which weighs about 1,700 kilograms, 3,748 pounds, and 26 kilogram, 57.3 pound, rover are packed with scientific instruments prepared to capture data to help researchers analyze the lunar surface and deliver fresh insights into its composition. A global moon rush working alongside allies such as the United States and France, India is part of a second wave of emerging space powers. The country's space program has become one of the world's busiest in its development of exploratory space technology. Chandrayaan-3 has been a point of national pride and widespread interest across India. Crowds gathered at the launch pad at Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh state. On Wednesday, more than 8 million people tuned in to watch the live stream of the landing. India's mission has taken on even greater significance since Russia's failed Lunar 25 landing attempt. With the success of Chandrayaan-3, India became the second country to land a spacecraft on the moon in the 21st century after China, which has put 3 landers on the lunar surface since 2013, including the first to touch down on the moon's far side. The last U.S. lunar lander, the crewed Apollo 17 mission, touched down in 1972. More than a dozen countries have plans for missions to the moon in the coming years, including a mission launched by Japan's space agency, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, that is expected to lift off later this month. The United States also has plans to send 3 commercial lunar landers to the moon, starting as early as this year, while NASA continues to work toward its Artemis III mission, which could put astronauts back on the moon as soon as 2025. Successful moon landings. Since 1958, there have been 70 successful and partially successful missions by 6 nations to the moon, though many of them have orbited Earth's only satellite without landing. A further 41 flights were not successful, according to NASA's archive. During the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s, the United States and USSR were the only countries that attempted missions to the moon. Between them, the 2 Cold War rivals attempted at least 90 moon missions, 40 of which were unsuccessful. During the 1980s, no lunar missions were launched. In 1990, Japan joined the space race with its Titan orbiter. In the 2000s, China, India, and the European Space Agency launched their first successful orbital missions to the moon.